Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Kel Connects. With my name is Kelly, and this is Kelly's Random Ramblings. This is just the third installment of my journey, of my spiritual journey, and some life experiences, and sometimes some insights I might share. But today, was trying to think about what I wanted to share. I probably won't share as frequently as I have or as close together as the last one. But what I my intention of all this is, again, is nothing. It's not a platform to argue or any contention at all. It's just basically me sharing my life and my journey and experiences that I have that I feel maybe encouraging to somebody else that's out there going through the same stuff. So, with that being said, today is, well, sometimes they have like Taco Tuesday, but we're going to call this Freaky Friday. So, I'm going to share some experiences that I've had, kind of go back to maybe when I was in high school. Some unexplained events in my life and in my world. And again, none of this the intention is to be scary. I think actually I want it to be an encouraging thing so that when we're spiritual beings in a physical body. I believe that, we came in as a spirit and manifested into a physical body when we were born. And when we leave, we're a spiritual being when we leave. So with that being said, while we're here, it's not unreasonable for us to be able to interact with the other side, the spiritual side of things, of existence. So with that being said, I'm going to start with some episodes and some events in my life that have shaped my spiritual journey as we've gone along. I remember back when I was in high school, my family lived probably within a mile of each other, all basically within walking distance to another family member. But my closest one was my grandparents, and I loved my pawpaw. We hung out a lot together. He fed me fed me a lot. Those teenage years where you're consuming a lot of food. But I remember one day leaving his house and was walking back to my house where I actually lived. And we lived in the hill country in Texas. And I just crossed his fence and was headed kind of it was in the pasture area, but walking back. And down in that area, we have snakes, rattlesnakes, copperheads, scorpions, those lovely little creatures. But I'm walking along, and I probably was, I don't know, 20 feet or so from his fence line. And I went to stepping down, and I saw a copperhead. For some reason, I actually saw the snake before I put my foot on it. However, the momentum of my body, I saw the snake as I was stepping down on it. But in a flash, just something happened. It was like it's almost like somebody picked me up and moved me about 10 feet away. And it stunned me. It just happened so quickly. I didn't even realize what had happened. And I turned around stunned and went back to find the snake and couldn't find the snake. But I started analyzing this, and over the years I've shared this story of how bizarre it was. And I believe it was a guardian angel. Is there somebody there to protect me? But as I'm remembering going to put my foot down, there is no physical way, and you can try this. You stand and you try to step down, and your foot is almost to the ground. You cannot physically jump 10 to 15 feet away from where you are without, you just can't, without some assistance from somebody or something else. So that was my first time that I've ever had anything that was just kind of unexplainable to me, that I just couldn't quite understand. But I took it as a miracle, as a blessing. Anyway, I've gone through life, and I think back early on in my first marriage, I remember we were sleeping and had just laying there. We had young children. They were still, pretty little, but they were able to walk. And I remember laying there sleeping, and I felt like somebody, I was laying on my back, and it felt like somebody bumped my feet, like pushed them, like somebody's like, "Hey, wake up, wake up." And so I raised up, thinking one of my kids was coming around the bed to talk to Daddy, and I looked up, and there was nobody there. But the sensation was so weird and so real that somebody was trying to wake me up. I looked over at my wife at the time, and she was sound asleep. She wasn't even moving. And I thought, okay, I just kind of brushed it off. And I don't know, it might have been a few days later, the same experience happened again. And I thought, wow, I'm not used to anything like this happening before up to this point in my life. Not that I consciously am aware of, but same thing. Felt like it bumped my feet, like, hey, wake up. And I didn't understand it. That was new to me. Couldn't comprehend this. But years passed and going through life and that journey. But I was fascinated with, the paranormal and those unexplained experiences that people have and share, and I was just intrigued by it. And so I was really excited when the whole shows started coming out, Ghost Adventures and Ghost Hunters, and so I'd watch those just intently and just enjoyed them so much. I thought, wow, what would it'd be so crazy to have stuff like that happen to you, and to experience things. And there may be things that have happened to me that I wasn't aware that, the spirit side of existence, that they were, trying to get in touch with me and reach out to me, but I just didn't understand it, didn't know. But anyway, I had moved to Colorado Springs, and it was a job change. And my wife had to stay back in Kansas where I lived, and for a year to finish up her teaching. And so I'd started a new job, and I was living in the fifth floor of an apartment, and so I was just there by myself in one bedroom apartment. And one night, and again, I was still fascinated by the shows, and it was always excited to talk to people who had experiences like, wow, that's crazy. But one night I was sleeping, and I kind of was propped up, and I felt somebody tap me on the left shoulder, like, hey, wake up, dude. That's how it felt. And of course, I woke up thinking, okay, I'm the only one in the apartment. Nobody should be punching me in the shoulder. And of course, I wake up, and nobody's there. And I thought, well, that was interesting. And I don't know if it was, you know, not too long after that, I was I woke up, and as I was waking up, and I looked over, and I've heard people talk about this, and I've seen these on the shows, when they've documented them. But I had a shadow figure. The room was all painted white, and the shadow figure was over by my front of my closets, and then it just zipped. It just zipped by. It zipped because it was by the window, the outside window, and it zipped across the room, and like it gone into the apartment. And I thought, wow, I'm still kind of waking up and think, did I just see what I just thought I saw? Because it was so real, and it was a dark figure, and it almost like it had a hat on, like a bolo hat or something. So I get up again. I'm on the fifth floor, and my neighbor is an elderly lady next to me. I get up thinking, okay, I was just trying to debunk what I'd seen, and went over. Her little porch light was on, and I thought, okay, maybe she was outside. And of course, it was like 2 or 3 in the morning, and it's really late for her to be up. And I look over, and I tried to mimic. I tried to recreate what that would look like, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it from her window, from her light, and on her balcony coming in through my window. And I tried to I just tried to recreate it, and I could not recreate it. I thought, well, okay, that was a pretty cool experience. And of course, physiologically and psychologically, we're not used to seeing some of those things. There's some anxiety, maybe a little fear. It wasn't like strong fear, it was more anxiety that I didn't quite understand something. So as the time has gone on, my wife had moved out there, and we had bought a house up in the mountains, and was so excited. It's a beautiful place, enjoyed it, and I had a couple things happen while we were there. I was laying there sleeping, and I would wake up, and I would have a sense that somebody was standing there right beside me, looking down at me. And the first time it was like an adult. I didn't get to see them other than it was when when you realize somebody's there, they're gone. And I know there's a word for this that people use this to explain away, I guess, situations, and I probably should look that up. But while I was there, I had a couple of events, a couple of times where I woke up and there was this little fair-haired the boy was like running away from my bed. And I thought, well, that was crazy. It's like, and then one time he or she or whatever, because I didn't know at the time, was standing at my bed. And it's like as soon as they realized I was awake and acknowledged that I could see them or they would be seen, they just left. They went away. And I thought, this was crazy. It was cool and crazy at the same time. And again, it wasn't fear, it was more of curiosity. It's like this is really incredible. These are things that people talk about that I don't ever get to experience. And so anyway, we've I've had some of those throughout my life. And then we moved, long story short, we had moved to live in Missouri. And again, laying there in bed, I was asleep, and one night I was awakened. I woke up and looked up, and that same little boy, that fair-haired boy, was beside me on my left side, and just took off running. It's like he just left, like I was going to see him, and he didn't want to be seen. I don't know. It was just bizarre. It was the same. It was the same child, and I'm guessing 5, 6, something in there was the age I would guess the child to be. And so one night, at this time, I had some spiritual awakenings to me. I was becoming aware of some things in my life and my belief systems, and so I was meditating in my recliner, and I'd just gone into a meditative state and was just slipping into that, and I had this vision. Just it was like a little it was like it looked to me like the face of the young kid that had been by my bed was right in front of me, like inches from my face, almost like it was screaming at me, almost like, "Hey, I'm right here. Can't you see me? I'm right here." And so it startled me enough that when I meditate, I usually close my eyes, and I'm calm and I'm quiet and trying to quiet my mind and gather my thoughts. But as soon as that happened, it was such a flash and such a real visceral feeling and experience that I flinched, because I thought, it's like when somebody gets up in your face real fast, it's like, hey, you're in my space, and you back up. And it was the same thing had happened. So I backed up and opened my eyes, and of course I don't see anybody or see anything, and I thought, wow, that was really really crazy. And so I only had maybe one more experience there, and it felt like there was like again like an adult or somebody walking across the end of my bed as I was waking up. Again, they disappear as fast as quickly as I can acknowledge that I'm seeing something. So anyway, well, fast forward, and we've moved again, and currently in Kansas, and just I've shared some of these experiences with people, and I love swapping those stories with friends and people I come across with, and they're like, do you believe? And it's like, well, yeah, I do definitely do believe, and I don't think what we see is everything that there is. However, with that being said, the way I was raised, in the religious setting, is that anything spiritual was it's, is and this necessarily was said to be taught. It was more of implied that if it was spiritual or you couldn't explain it, it was evil. And and that if you expose yourself to that, you're opening yourself up to Satan, the devil, evil spirits, and I just I struggled with that. I didn't understand. We're spiritual beings. We believe in God as a spirit. We believe that when our loved ones leave, they're in spiritual form. So why does everything that has to be a spiritual experience have to be evil and bad? And so because of that premise, I don't accept everything spiritual as as bad or evil or trying to hurt me or harm me or take over me. It's like, I've heard it's, Satan comes as an angel of light. Well, it's like he may be an angel of light, but it doesn't mean I'm going to be convinced to be evil, because I see something that is light. Angels are light. So, there's energy. We're all energy. So I putting all this together, my belief system has been developed into that even if I experience something that's uncomfortable, I can approach it with love and confidence that whatever you are, you can't harm me for sure. But anyway, that's kind of where my premise is with some of my experiences. Another one I had that was really incredible. I'd never experienced. We was down in Texas visiting a family member, and laying there asleep with my wife, and this is in the last several years, and we this was so crazy, so cool. I'm laying there, the door's closed to our room, and I felt like a pet jumped up on the bed at the end of the bed, like a cat or cat or a small dog. And the first thing I thought of was like, well, who's in our room? What pet is in here? I look down. I have my dog with us. He's laying beside me in his bed, totally still, sound asleep. And my wife next to me she's sound asleep. And I feel this little animal walking over my legs, and like the covers are on me, and you can feel the covers pushing down as it steps over me. And I'm thinking, this is crazy. This is amazing. I have never felt anything like this before. I'm awake, trying to comprehend and absorb all this, and it like it walks over to my wife, and and then it walks. I put my leg against her to see if she's moving. Maybe she's creating this sensation with the blanket, and she's dead still. She's not moving at all. And then I feel it walk back over to me, stepping over my legs, pushing down on the covers, and then it jumps down and goes away. It lasted just maybe 30 seconds or maybe less. And I thought this was so cool. So as soon as she woke up, I shared the experience with her, and I thought, you'll never believe what just happened. And so that evening, we'd had a meal with some family members, and I was sharing with this, and they said, "Oh yeah, that's so and so's dog." And I thought, okay, well, I don't know. I was really cool though. That next night, actually, that happened about 5:30 in the morning, and so the very next day, I feel it jump on the bed. That woke me up. Jumping up on the bed woke me up. And I thought, oh gosh, I'm awake. I know I'm awake. I'm looking straight up the ceiling. And I didn't want to look down there because I thought if it's there, I don't want to scare it away. I wanted to experience the experience. And so I look over, my dog is still asleep. He's still laying in his bed. My wife is sound asleep. And I feel this little guy walking across my feet and along the pushing the covers down, just like you would have your own pet do. It was doing that to me. And it walks over to my wife. Again, I slide my leg over there to see if she's moving. She is not moving. She is still sound asleep. It walks back over. It seemed to last a little bit longer. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm awake. I am not dreaming. I am wide awake, thinking I am feeling these sensations that something is walking on the end of my bed. And it jumps down and it's gone. And so I shared that again and with her, and it's like that was so amazing. I so appreciate those experiences because it broadens your minds, it opens you up to see that maybe life isn't exactly what you think it is sometimes, and to be open to new experiences and things that might change your perspective on your reality. So let's fast forward just a little bit. So a couple months ago or so, just to kind of let you know some more of those experiences, I'm laying in bed and I'm a lot more open. And actually, I've had some other things that we'll share at another time. But I'm laying in bed at night, and well, maybe to back up just a little bit on that little boy that was walking around. My wife and I had attended, and I've never been to one of these, a metaphysical fair, is what it was, and in a nearby town. And I thought, wow, this is really crazy. And anyway, while we were there was a lady. We were in this group setting, and she was talking about mediumship and things like this. And this is all new to me, but I'm so fascinated by it. And she did a reading for me, and there was a group. And she said, "There's a little boy that hangs around you, and his name is Stephen, and he's with you on a regular basis, so pretty frequently." And I thought, oh wow, I remember when I was a little boy. I may have been 5 or so. I don't know. There was a little boy. He was a friend of the family, and he had accidentally hung himself, and we were at his funeral. And I remember going up to the casket again. I'm a little dude, and death is new to me. I've never experienced anything like this, so I remember peeking over and looking at him. Now I don't really recall what he looked like, so I asked couple family members, "Do you remember that little boy?" Because I thought his name was Stephen. So when she said the word Stephen, I was like, "Wow, that's incredible." So I asked a couple family members, and I said, "Yeah, his name was Steve or Stephen." And I said, "What did he look like?" And they said, "Well, he was kind of reddish, blondish hair." And I thought, "That's him. That's the little guy that's been hanging around me for probably a couple years or so." And so because of what I feel and think anymore, one night it's like, and I hadn't experienced him since this time. I had told him, I said, "Okay, Stephen, if you're here, I can't see you, but you are more than welcome. I appreciate you being with me and helping me out." And maybe there was a connection because I was a little boy at the same time as well, that he had hung around me. But you're welcome to walk on into the light and just, live the rest of your existence. I appreciate you being here to help me out. And I haven't experienced him since then. But as after we moved back to Kansas here, and we've had some experiences at night, I had again, these aren't to be scary. They're be encouraging that you have control, for one, over things. Nobody or nothing can harm you unless you have that desire to be harmed and want to be harmed, or you've got so much fear in you that you're allowing yourself to believe that you do not have the power, and you totally have the power to control your spiritual circumstances. Totally. Because you are a spiritual being, and you're created from the ultimate powerful source that creates all things. So I was having some experiences in bed at night where about 2 or 3 in the morning, which is kind of the witching hour, so to speak. I was being awakened, and one of the experiences, like something poked me in the back enough that it was sharp, that it woke me enough to wake me up. And I turned over, and almost immediately I feel like somebody's leaning against the bed, like when their knees are pushing against the bed, but they're leaning over by you. And I was feeling these strong energies just sweeping across my torso. It was like a wave. It would go across and then come back across. And I thought, wow, this is bizarre. And I could feel it moving up and down, feel it pushing on the bed, and then I would feel it at my feet. I feel it like somebody was standing on the bed, or they would be walking across the bed, like straddling me, and I would feel that energetic sensations coming up my body. And again, there wasn't fear, it was curiosity, and there was some anxiety with it because it was so new to me and so bizarre. But I was open to let it happen, but also was very clear because I would speak it and I would think it. You do not have any control over me. If you're here to help me, that's wonderful. If you're here to harm me or to take my energy, you do not have permission to do that. And I would send out love to them. I would send out all the love I could, that you come from the same source. You know, God is our creator. And so, this it would subside. And then be another, the next night it would do the same thing. It would wake me up either with a dream, a paranormal dream or something, and it would wake up with some anxiety because, we're so conditioned that anything that is spiritual is evil. And that's not the case. It's absolutely not the case. And so I would have those sensations. Same thing, just the waves of energy going across my body, up my legs, almost to the point where I felt like somebody was laying on me and in me, because it was getting difficult to breathe. And it's like, okay, you can't be in here. You've got to get out of my body. You can't stay here. There's not enough room. There's enough room for me, much less somebody else being here. And I could feel it leaving me, but my body, sending it with love, pushing it out with love, and every intention, every good intention, that whatever I'm experiencing is it's gonna be something I'm learning from, and something that's going to be beneficial to me on my spiritual journey, and to be more open-minded to those sensations. You know how sometimes you get the heebie-jeebies, you feel something energetically that you can't explain. That's what I was opening my mind to. That, okay, I'm experiencing this. Nobody's harming me. Nobody's hurting me. The whole thing, nothing harmed me or hurt me. And so I'm just allowing the experience to happen and being open minded about it, to accept whatever the lesson is I need to learn from this. And so it got to where I was getting anxious about going to bed because it's like, I'm losing sleep now because you're waking me up at 3 or 4 in the morning or 2 in the morning and causing me to have this sensation or sensations. It could last an hour just trying to, between the waking up and then relaxing enough to be able to go back to sleep. So I reached out to a friend, and again, I was sending them away in love. You can't hurt me, you can't harm me, and reached out to a friend, and she said, "Well, just have an intention that your home is blocked. Nothing can come in through those doors without your permission," and that's been helpful as well. I haven't had those sensations again; they have not been back, and so it's been quite a journey with those paranormal experiences, and it has been part of my journey. And since then, some amazing, incredible things have happened. But that's for another Freaky Friday, I guess. But again, this is not. I don't need an exorcism. I don't need any of those things that maybe those are going to listen to this. Just I don't need you to feel sorry for me or to think that something bad is happening to me. I'm being demon possessed. Nothing like that is happening. I'm having a spiritual experience from spiritual side of life, from the other side that we can't always see, but it is just as real as you are in your physical body. So come with this with an open mind. And it's not meant to be fearful. It actually is. This message, this intent of me doing this videos in the first place, is for those who are going through similar things, that you're doubting things, you're not quite understanding things, and you're wanting to broaden your mind, but you're maybe a little anxious and maybe a little fearful. And I'm going to tell you, you have the most amazing power within you to control your life and to control your thoughts, to control the energies that are in you and around you. And you just stand in that power, open your mind to experience it could be your loved one. It could be somebody that's trying to guide you and to help you in a situation. Be open to that. You know, we were raised with so many, or could have been raised um, with so many. I mean, the just I was raised Christian, so the Bible is so full of spirits coming back and helping and talking, even on the Mount of Transfiguration. I mean, they see spirits, they see it. So why is that wrong? And why is that credible? But yet we can't have the credible experiences now. Because even now the words of Christ says, greater things than these shall you experience, and things that you shall do. So take that. If that's helpful, take it. That there could be amazing things going on and could happen in your life by being open and accepting greater spiritual aspects of your life and of your existence, of your creative existence, and what you're here and your purpose is for. So, anyway, as we go along, I will share a lot more things that are happening in my life and in my spiritual growth and my spiritual journey as we go along. Please be encouraged. And this message is for those that it needs to touch. And it's not, again, not a debate platform. It is absolutely for those who need to hear something that either challenges them in their heart and their mind, or needs to encourage them in their heart and their mind that they're not the only one experiencing certain things. So, with that being said, it's an amazing Friday. I'm so thankful to be alive. So thankful, so I can't even talk. So excited and thankful that I get to enjoy another day on this planet with my family and being able to breathe and enjoy health. We've had a month of just kind of struggling with health, but it's coming around and doing better, and just appreciate that so much. So anyway, so remember to keep a smile on your face because that helps everybody around you, helps you well as well, and keep your heart and your mind open, and you have no idea what can come your way when you do such things. So take care, my friends. Have a wonderful Friday. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot.